figure out what you value in a relationship.
Okay, continue to tell us.
Yeah, it really depends on like on the person, I guess. Like, I personally find myself, I cut through the basically, right? Can I curse in this?
Yeah.
I
just beep.
Yes, I cut through the oh, I guess anti-HR, right? So for example, like when I went on when I was in the game, I told my friends that my hobby is going on first dates. I love going on first dates. I like meeting people. I think that's just why I'm in this profession, I guess. I like meeting people, getting to know them.
You're a social creature.
Yeah, I'm a social creature. But like, for example, when I see red flags in this other person and I'm not interested in them, or even if I am interested in them, I would actually like call them out on their bullshit, right? For example, I have this one guy, I remember. Sorry, my husband, if you're listening this, this was way before I met you.
Like, this guy you're watching, we hope you're better.
So, like one of the guys that I met, right? Like he was charming. The first date went well. We actually went on second date, and but I can tell he's a little bit not interested in me, but he's afraid to do so. He's afraid to tell me that, oh, I don't think this is working out, like, you know, because I was quite interested in him and I'm quite, you know, forthcoming. Some girls are not. Some girls are really shy. I'm like, okay, I'm interested in you, you know, like, again, I'm like no bullshit kind of person, right? So and then he's like, and then, you know, like flirting is also a skill. So when I flirt with him, he kept on like rejecting the flirt. So I said, oh, you look really good today. And then he was like, oh, please don't compliment me, you'll get to my head, and blah blah blah. I want to be humble.
And I said the compliment.
And I said, just say, can't you just say thank you?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right? Okay. Like, why are you rejecting a compliment? It's just a harmless compliment. And then if you think this is not working out, like, just let me know. Right? And then he's like, oh yeah, you know what? It's not working out. Yeah, it's as simple as that. I can handle the rejection. Don't worry about it. Then I just like, okay,
We stand
bye.
that attitude.
Yeah. So I guess, but not everyone can be like that.
Correct.
And both guys and girls, not everyone can be like that. I've met some guys who are very well aware of how they feel. Like after the first date, they're like, oh, I'm really interested in you. But I do.
Is it a rare thing? Self-aware man.
Quite. I would say self-aware people. Some girls are also like have no clue what they're looking for.
Right.
Also sending mixed signals. So, yeah, both ways. Yeah.
So how can they kind of fine tune this? You know, is there like a way to work on yourself? Like, or like, I don't know. You know, like in movies, you see like you have a certain list lah.
Yeah. Or, you can have your list. When I was in the dating scene, I had a list of laundry list. I want this type, blah, 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 blah. Like, I want somebody who speaks good English. I want somebody with education. I want somebody with stable, well, I didn't really think about stable career, but with ambition. Ambition was more important to me, right? But this list kind of like changes over time. And how it changed, how I advise you to look at the list that you have is to kind of like find meaning to it, right? So my list was that I need somebody with good English, primarily because English is my first language. And if we were to communicate, if we were to have arguments, if I were to tell you of my deepest thoughts, it will be in English. And if you can't understand that, it's really tiring for me, and it's just not going to work. So the meaning to that is more towards more like communication. And if we fight, I'm gonna babble you in English, and I'm gonna give you all these metaphors, I'm gonna give you all these analogies in English, and if you can't understand that, then it's gonna be hard for me to communicate in the heat of the moment, because I cannot like switch
Because
my
you have to put in mental work to figure out how to communicate.
Exactly.
Right.
So it's not just the fact that, oh, I want somebody that speaks good English because, you know, it's hot, whatever. It's because of communication. And then I want somebody with good education because the things that I talk about, I can talk about everything and anything, but I do also want to talk about deeper stuff, right? I want to talk about psychology, I want to talk about education, I want to talk about love, I want to talk about feelings. So if you are not willing to read, if you're not well read, or if you're not willing to do your research, or you're somebody who don't have an opinion on anything, then the values are not there. Because I personally value curiosity, I value freedom of expression. So put meaning to your list. Secondly, figure out what you value in a relationship. Nilai-nilai dalam in a relationship. So it can differ. So for example, for me, my value is responsibility, freedom of expression. I just give this too. So, but my husband's values are different. His values are more on, he values like family, meaning whatever it is, family comes first. And then, for example, he also values privacy. Right? So in that sense, like, how can I respect his values at the same time respecting mine? So for example, for me, when I have problems, I talk to as many people as possible because that's me. I value other people's opinions. Like, oh, Yasanthi, what do you think about this? Edeline, what do you think about that? And I'll gather your opinion and think, right? But my husband, because he values privacy, he would think on his own and then come up with his own conclusion that I cannot challenge because he doesn't. It's not that he doesn't value
consult.
He doesn't consult, and that's his way of working on it. So how can I respect that? At the same time, he also needs to respect my way of what I value in a relationship. So I respect in a way where I do not talk about him. When, for example, when I have problems, I do not talk about with him. I do not talk about him with my mom or my sister or my friends. But at the same time, he needs to also, so that kind of like respects his privacy. So I can talk about myself. I have problems about work, about whatever. I can talk, right? But then when it's about him, I respect his privacy. But at the same time, he also needs to respect my value of freedom of expression. When it comes to my relationship problems with him, he needs to listen to me too, right? If not, then I need to talk to someone else. So which one would you prefer me do? So when you kind of understand yourself, I understand myself. This is what is really important to me. I have my deal breakers. I have my non-negotiables. For example, you cannot be smoking for health reasons. I think that's a very strong deal breaker for me, right? And you have meaning to it. It's not just because I want somebody in trust fund, 6'5", finance, blue eyes. Why do you want someone with blue eyes? Why do you want someone in finance? It could be because you are not great at finance, and you need somebody in finance too, so that when you are in a relationship, when you are married, you have somebody to work on your finance because you are terrible. You're a big spender, for example, right? If you want somebody with trust fund, maybe you value stability in your life. So fine, what is exactly is the value that you're trying to fulfill when you have these needs? There's a need to all of your requirements. So I ask you, Yasanthi, right?
Yes.
What do you think? What are your list? Let's have a practice, right?
Sure.
What's your list?
I'll willingly be your
Yes.
My list that I look for in a partner.
Yeah.
Family oriented.
Okay.
Need to be, because I come from a very large family,
Right.
so he needs to be able to just
Yep.
be a part of it.
Yeah.
Number 2, communicating.
Okay.
Should communicate his feelings. Should be pro mental health. Or
Okay.
at least be aware mental health is important and that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Same like you, Izzy. Talk English. I also same. Kalau marah,
Yeah.
English things will fly. Mostly
Yeah.
curse words, but never mind.
Yeah.
And I think pretty much, I think it would be that 3 only lah.
Okay.
Last time it used to be very, very, very hard.
Yes.
3 times word lah.
Yeah.
Now I'm changed.
Yeah. People say as you grow, your physical things deplete, emotional things, it is a lot more. So, okay, let's take family oriented, right? So if the person, when you say family oriented, what do you mean by that?
So what I mean is, okay, I can give you a scenario lah. I can't exactly explain.
Yeah.
But one of my uncles, he treats my grandma like his own mom.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
And he treats the children of my auntie's sister as his own kids.
Right.
Right. I admire that.
Okay.
I really admire that because
Okay.
he doesn't see the difference between my family. and your family.
Right. Okay. So basically, somebody who is willing to, who can, kind of treat your family as his own.
Yes.
Right? Blend well with them, so
Yes.
there's no awkwardness. They can spend
Yes.
time with them. What if the person that you meets everything else, but that, right? So meaning that, what if he can only tolerate being around your family because he doesn't come from like a large family himself, right? So, but then he kind of like, okay, I can spend time with your family, but you cannot expect me to treat them similar like how I treat my family because I don't treat my family well. Deal breaker. So,
Absolute deal breaker.
okay, but some people are willing to overlook that. As long as you are okay, if we go on vacation with my family, you come along, that's good enough for me. Then that's okay for them. But if it's not okay for you, then that's where you draw the boundary. So if the person is interested in you, if they're like, okay, I'll try. So then that's like that's a space of improvement. So I'm sure like for you as well, you and your husband must have differences, right?
Yeah.
So would you say your values and your husband's values are the same or are they completely different?
Yes, do tell.
You know, after you sharing everything, Izzy, that really got me thinking, you know. I think we're like same but different, honestly. So the both of us value privacy, but like family, like Yasanthi said. So family is like very important for me. It's to have somebody who can accept family, because I come from a very big family, and you know, it's like the kind where it's not just parents and siblings, it's like cousins, uncles, aunties. Like when you have gatherings, like everybody just gathers, you know. So like the guest list is like memang 50 people for every party, that kind of thing. Okay. Whereas for my husband, it's more he really values privacy. He prefers you know, intimate things like gatherings, quieter. So yeah, I think that's the difference in that sense, which I had to adapt, and he had to adapt also. Yeah. So like for example, for me, previously for like the weekends, I would want to go out. I want to do something. I want to go somewhere, you know, because I'm just so used to that. Whereas for him, weekends would be like, okay, I'm just gonna stay home. No, Netflix and chill is like X-rated. but yeah, literally Netflix and chill. But yeah, he rather stay at home, chill. So even now with the kids, right?
Yeah.
Like weekends unwinding for him is like at home on the couch. You know, the kids are there. Yeah, correct, on his phone. That's his way. Like for me, I had to adjust to that.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, back to the original question, like how do we fine tune that? Like how do we? It's just getting to know what everything. Basically, all of this boils down to this: understanding who you are, what you need, and what you value, and understanding what you can work on. Like meaning, what are you willing to overlook? And third, what kind of partner do you want to be? Because the other person also has their laundry list. Would you be willing to adapt to a unwinding day? At the same time, would your partner also be willing to go out and have fun days with you? So, and things change when you have children. Parenting is a whole thing. Oh no, you know, like and then even if you decide not to have children, living together, it changes. There are seasons, and the only thing that remains is what you value and what is important to you. So as long as you remind yourself of that is when you can start building boundaries, like you mentioned. Or if you cannot treat my family like your own, then that's a boundary that I have to put, right? Or for example, for me, that's a boundary I put with my husband. If you are not willing to talk and bounce ideas when it's our problem, then I have to go talk to someone else, and that will breach your privacy. Would you be okay with that? So because then it's not like, okay lah, if you don't want me to talk and you don't want to talk to me, then I have to think by myself. That's not me. I need that. I need to talk to somebody because we're women. Right?
Yes.
And at the same time, if you have troubles, I will not force you to talk to me until you figure it out. So similarly, right? If you have trouble at work, I wouldn't suggest you to go talk to your colleagues. Like, I know that's how you deal with your own problems, and that's fine. So yeah, so it's that.
So,
okay.
Would it be correct for me to say it's like a compromise?
Definitely, compromise is one thing.
So is compromise an important thing?
Number one thing, I would say.
Yeah.
A lot more than communication. What communication is number.
It's like equally
important, I would say. Definitely. In order to compromise, you need to be able to communicate well. In order to communicate well and compromise and build boundaries, you need to know yourself well, and know your partner well. So yeah.
Because there are like some people out there who think compromise in a relationship can be bad.
Yeah, yeah,
Right,
yeah.
right. Recently, there was this whole
Correct.
narrative on social media going on, like, relationships should be somewhere about meeting middle ground or something. You shouldn't compromise this, and that.
Right, right.
That was also like this particular take, lah.
Yeah. I would say, instead of saying compromise, boundaries. Boundaries is I would say, a healthier view of it. So there are different types of boundaries. Boundaries can be detrimental as well. There are different types of boundaries. A healthy boundary looks like a sponge. Doesn't look like a sponge. It looks like a rubber band.
Okay.
It's a very clear. The shape of rubber band is very clear. So if I put a rubber band here, you can say that this is the inside of the rubber band, this is outside of the rubber band. But the rubber band is malleable, right? So
there you go.
You can bend it. You can bend it.
Yeah.
You can bend it, so you are flexible. All right. So a healthy boundary looks like this. A rigid boundary. Okay. So there are two types of unhealthy boundary. So the rigid boundary, it looks like a rock or like a mug, something solid. So it's very clear of what is inside, what is outside, and it's not negotiable. Right? Whereas a porous boundary is like a sponge. You have no idea, like, you just absorb. Right? There's no clear cut of where the boundary is. So what it can look like, a healthy boundary, is like, yes, I'm willing to meet where you are without compromising what I really need. Again, that example, yes, I cannot talk about you, but I still need to talk to someone. Yeah. So for example, if you don't want to, similarly, if I have problems about work, I of course the first person I want to turn to is my husband.
Yeah.
But he's like, why can't you think for yourself first? And I'm not that type. Okay lah, you don't want to listen to me, I go talk to someone else. Right? Yeah. So again, there's that boundary there. It's not like, so porous boundary in that situation would look like, or if we have a problem and you don't want to talk to me, and I don't have that boundary that I need to talk to someone, then I'll be like, okay lah, the porous boundary sponge would be like, I just absorb it, I just keep it to myself, I'll think by myself, I follow what you want. Rigid boundary be like, if there's a problem about us, I'll talk to as many people as possible because that is my way. I'm not, okay lah, whatever lah, about you lah, I still need to talk to as many people as possible. Whereas the healthy boundary is like that lah, okay, everything else I talk to so many people, but when it's between you and me, there's your privacy I need to respect, but I still need to talk to you about it. So then when it comes to that, then it's his boundary pula lah. Then I have to see, are you willing to bend this a little bit? Would you be willing to talk to me about it? Because you have been talking inside your head on your own, right? So would you be willing to come out and talk to me about it?
Right.
Yeah.
So it's pretty much like working together and respectfully.
Yeah, respectfully.
I think
Respectful
that's
boundaries.
Correct.
Yes,
Yeah, I think that's very important,
Yeah.
right? In relationships.
I've been even in dating apps.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? So there's that boundary that you need to put. Is it a hard stop? Is there, when you find yourself too judgmental, is there like a boundary that you need to
The
reconsider?
boundary that I took was just taking myself off of that.
Yeah.
Because
There's that too.
I didn't like who I was becoming and where my brain was going. So
Yeah.
I knew I had to put a stop.
Yeah.
Glad that you're self-aware as well.
Yeah, but sorry lah to that guy. Feel bad.
It's okay. It's been how long?
3 months. 4 months.
Okay lah.
Yeah.
fine.
But I'm sure the dude is happily swiping now.
Yeah.
That's good. But I just want to bring like the conversation forward to matchmaking. So we've been
Yes.
talking about online dating, right? And like you said, the whole checklist thing and everything. I'm just wondering if matchmaking by any chance makes that easier.
Yeah, like how is matchmaking like different
Yeah.
from regular online dating?
Right.
How does Datewell do it?
I would say the traditional matchmaking, like Auntie Sima, is definitely is the same. People come with you. Here's my list. Find me somebody that takes 90% of it. I want somebody in trust fund finance, 6'5", blue eyes, right? The way that we try to approach it, which is why Grace also said that it's important that we build a psychological profile, is we put meaning to these things and we find what is truly, truly, truly something that is really important to you in your relationship. Yes, you can come to me. We have clients that come to me. Oh, I need somebody who's a Taurus. I need somebody who earns this much. I need somebody which is all perfectly well. I mean, I respect that. Probably your beliefs and whatnot. Like, I respect that. Understand that. But at bottom line is, I would ask them, if I meet somebody who is kind, who is willing to meet like 60% or 70% of what you're telling me, but they're a Scorpio, would you really not meet this person? Right? Or
Scorpio, by the way.
yeah. Or like for example, you tell me, Yasanthi, okay, he's definitely family oriented. He loves spending time with his family. He's a bubbly person, right? And then his English is really great. The only thing is that he can be a little bit iffy talking about his feelings.
We can work with it.
Exactly, right? But some people can't. Some people they are not willing to compromise on that. Then we would have to relook whether or not matchmaking is the right thing for them, right?
I see.
You even tell them like, hey, you're not suitable
Yes,
for
we
this.
have rejected
Yeah.
clients.
Right, right.
We have
Oh,
rejected
right,
clients
okay.
before. Yes. So for example, when I meet them and I feel like they have no idea what they're looking for, or they have a very rigid, unrealistic expectation. For example, you are a 40-year-old man, you want to meet somebody who's 25. I have to tell you, this is not. I am not comfortable finding that person for you, right? And or for example, you are looking for somebody who's again like really, really, really specific. Then I say that it's gonna be really difficult for us to find somebody for you. Then maybe I can like, would you be willing to cross this off of your list? And if you're not willing to, then I'm sorry, we cannot take you in as a client, right?
Right.
Because what we are trying to promote at Datewell is meaningful relationships, right? If you want me to find you somebody who fits a certain mold, then there's no meaning to it. You get what I mean? So like, what is really meaningful to you? What is the true meaning of a good relationship to you? What kind of person do you want? What kind of needs are you trying to fulfill? Rather than finding somebody who is, like has a stable career, good income, earns 20,000 a month, for example. What is the need that you're trying to fulfill? Or after talking to them, after kind of like doing some work, they're like, I just need somebody to... I'm the type of person who would like somebody with this what do you call it, like a provider mindset.
Okay.
Because they want to assume a traditional relationship. Like for example, for me and my husband, we are not traditional in the sense where I work, he works, we contribute. But for some relationships, the way that it can work is that I work, but my money is my money. Your money is my money too. You provide for everything, and that's perfectly fine if you find a partner that is willing to, who shares the same
Be
views as
okay
you.
with that.
Because if I find you somebody with 20K a month, but they're like, no, my money is my money, then it
Yeah.
doesn't serve the purpose, right?
Yeah.
Like for example, they earn 20K a month. Great, it checks your list. But on the first date, you pay, I pay half. We go Dutch.
Yeah.
So what exactly that you need? What if somebody only earns 5,000 but he is willing to take care of all financial responsibilities? Wouldn't that be more meaningful? Right? You got what I mean? So
Yeah.
so again, like what exactly are you trying to? So for example, that my client is like, I really want to travel every year and I want my husband to travel with me. So then understand, that's why you need somebody
Yeah.
with good income, right? So, but again, are you willing to compromise on that? Is that something that is really something that you must have? If it is, then okay, I understand. I'll go and try and find someone for you.
It's a two-way street lah.
Yeah, it's a two-way street. So meaning that if you give me a list, I'm gonna be real with you. If I can meet this list, okay, great, I'll let you know. If I can't meet this list, then we need to talk.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, like, just curious, what does the process of matchmaking entail?
Right. So we have like a conversation. I would ask you about what you're looking for, who you are, your childhood, your family relationships, your past relationships, good and bad. And then if there are things that I'm a bit concerned about, meaning your behavior patterns, because us as humans, we are creatures of patterns. We repeat certain behavior patterns over and over again. So when I ask them about their relationship with their family, their relationship with their exes, what has been working, what has not been working, and I find these patterns, and I'm like, hey, this pattern seems like, it's not really your fault, it's just a situation, it's just time, it's just mindset, and you have shifted from this mindset. Okay, great, then you're set, I'll go and find that person for you. But if I see that this pattern is something that is wrong somewhere, I wouldn't say wrong lah, like something that needs to be improved on your side. For example, there's this pattern of, like every time you get out of a relationship, you go back to the same person. and then after that, when this person is like giving you on and off, and then you go find another person, you get to know this person, get into a relationship, and then the moment you break up, you go back to the same person. Then something needs to be worked out there.
Okay.
Then I say that, hey, maybe you're not ready, right? So let's say they are ready. Then I'll go and find this person for them through whatever means I have. So usually we would go to other clients who is in a matchmaking pool, or if we don't have that, because our pool is still quite small. So if you guys want to sign up, please do. Then I will find, for example, my connections or of people from our speed dating events. I'll reach out to them. Hey, I might have somebody that might suit you. Would you be interested to explore? Then I will have the same conversation with them to see again their attachment styles, their love languages, things like that. And then I will present their profile to my client and my client's profile to them. And if yes, then we set up a date. Yeah.
Okay. So usually how long does it take? Like weeks, months?
It depends. I've managed to find a date for somebody within 3 weeks. But some of my clients has waited for about 4 to 5 months.
Okay.
It really depends on the person. Sometimes I can find a client that matches for my clients quite fast, but things do not meaning they realize something. For example, like okay, they say they want ABC, and then I say, hey, this person is ABCDEFGHI. Oh, actually, you know what? I don't want H. Then I have to go, okay, because she didn't let me know. Okay, then I have to again filter my process, right? Yeah.
Okay.
So and then usually like we tell our clients you can only reject once. If you reject again the second time, then we need to sit down again and see whether or not this service is right for you. Yeah, because maybe you're the type of person that you need to sit down and meet the person only, then you will know yes or no. Then matchmaking is not for you. Blind dating is not for you.
So okay. So like if you need to meet the person, then for example, if they're that kind of people, then what would be the best?
I would say put yourself out there, try and meet people organically. Come to speed dating. Speed dating, I think, is quite a good thing because you meet the person straight away. You talk to them, you kind of like already can judge them. Of course, it's only 10-15 minutes, but if you're the kind of person who thrives on physical what do you call it? Authenticity, physical connection, right? So speed dating might be the person might be the thing for you because you meet a lot of different people. You know like that aura, that vibe, right? You kind of like try on that
because that was what was missing for me with online dating.
Right, there you go. Okay.
I literally thrive off listening like what people are interested in, and what about what makes them them. Like, do they like dark humor?
Yeah. Like for example, I am. Unfortunately, occupational hazard. I'm big on body language.
Okay.
Yeah, I can tell about you, but just by reading your body language more than what you say. You know what I mean? So if for example like you can talk, and then when I meet you, your body language says otherwise. So that's why like when I was when I was online dating, I make it a point to meet them before I invest anything.
Okay.
Yeah, that's for me. That is me myself. So
okay, so like for matchmaking, say first date set. Okay, what happens after that for date well? Like, are you guys still like? So that's the end.
Yeah. Then we would have a post date review. So we would ask both parties like, how did it go? So sometimes, like for example, I went on a date with Yasanthi, and Yasanthi says like, oh okay, yeah, she's really fun and all that. But then for me, I'm like. Sorry, no offense. But maybe we would like, so, hypothetical question. Hypothetical. Yeah. So then I will ask like, hey, what was missing? How can my client improve? And then I will actually tell that to my client. Hey, this person says that this. So maybe we can work on this. Yeah. Would you like me to find another match for you, or would you want to take a pause, work on yourself first? Yeah. So it really depends.
There's a lot of care. And sensitivity.
We try to
have that support. It's not just like this person ghosted me. Correct.
I think I was talking to Yasanthi earlier during our interview, right? Like we try and see what they need. First, for example, some of our clients during our speed dating event, they find themselves really nervous talking in public. So we're like, hey, do you want some coaching? Would you like to have like some opportunity to public speaking? Join us in hosting events, facilitating events, just to build that confidence. And then even, like when they come to speed dating event, they help us to facilitate, relax themselves in public, and then, hey, if you see anyone you're interested, go and talk to them. Yeah. So we want to foster that
Correct.
sense of healthy dating.
I really love that.
Yeah, me too. I mean, that additional touch I find is so important. It's more than just trying to find a match. It's also about working on yourself,
Yes.
understanding yourself better, which I think ultimately will help you to find like the match, because you know yourself better, you know what you want, you know how to
feel
present.
judged.
Correct.
When you guys are handling, like from what I see, the way you talk, like how you handle the clients and all, there's no judgment. Like you just take people for their preferences. You see?
Yeah.
I don't see any sense of like judgment. So, and I think that's a huge, like much needed out there lah. Because a lot of
true.
times like, oh my god, you want this? Like personally, like when they hear one of my preference must speak good English, I get judged. For that.
Oh, don't worry, me too.
Oh no.
Yeah. Why? Oh my god, use atas, is it?
All right.
Yeah.
You cannot accept people who don't have degree lesser than degree. Is it? What makes them any lesser? You know? So
Right.
you guys are doing a good job with handling your clients and respecting their preferences. As well, you know?
Yeah. But then again, even with that, we need to, if it's unrealistic or if it's unhealthy, then we also have to call them out for their own sake.
Yeah. Correct, but that's really helpful for the other person also, right? I mean, before the person gets to know that person, at least whoever it is that you have advised them accordingly, then they can work on themselves before they go on a date, and then later to find out that maybe their date didn't like that character or whatever, Yeah, that's so interesting. So moving on, like, shall we talk about a little bit about speed dating as well?
But before we go into speed dating, just a very, very, very curious question.
Okay, what? Tell.
About Auntie Sima.
Oh, right. Okay, this
Sima is
girl.
a controversial one.
Right.
I'm
Yeah.
personally not a big fan of her.
Right. Auntie Sima. Okay.
So what do you think about matchmakers like Auntie Sima?
Okay, let me just preface this. It's my guilty pleasure to watch dating shows. Love Island, Too Hot to Handle, everything. Just guilty pleasure. So my husband would be like, what are you watching? So Indian matchmaking, I did try to watch. I think I watched about 2 to 3 episodes. So I don't really have fully grasp of Auntie Sima's work. But from what I've watched, I think she's really...
Gung-ho.
Yeah, she's like, no, you cannot. No, you cannot. No, you cannot. You get what I mean? Like, I think I understand why she's like that, because she has been doing it for so long, and efficiency, and she has like thousands and thousands of people in her care, so she does not have the leisurely time to like coach you. Hey, why don't you no. Unrealistic, no, 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 like, so she's taking that parent approach, I would say, more rather than like a coach or friend approach, so I think it's because of experience is one thing, and also she doesn't have the capacity to do so. So is there anything specific about Auntie Sima's approach that you kind of like?
For me, I'm not really a particular big fan of Auntie Sima. I might get hate for this, or it might be a very controversial opinion, but I feel like she is still stuck in a bit of a outdated,
old-fashioned,
old-fashioned traditional mindset. So like I've watched, I think up until I've watched like
a lot.
What I see is she expects the girls to sort of
be the one to comply.
Right.
She's more accepting or more like open to the guys like preference, like this.
Right.
But when the girls say I want this, I want that, she's like, no, you cannot this. But so I see her in that kind of sense.
That's a very good observation.
Yeah.
I think when it comes to dating culture also is a very big factor, right? We are Asians, right? I mean, and unfortunately in the dating scene right now, gender roles also still play a huge a factor in all relationships. Like I mentioned just now, some people are more interested in a traditional relationship. Some are more equal partnership. Some even reversed. Like for example, I know some of my friends, like, I'm a career woman, I want my husband to be a stay-at-home dad, right? And if you can find somebody like that, perfect, right? But even if you do find something like that, like for example, I am a career person, I want my husband to be a stay-at-home dad, and my husband's fine with that, right? But then the society, your mom, your auntie, your uncle, your whoever, like, why you like that? You yang patut jaga anak kat rumah, you perempuan.
Correct.
There's still that. And I would say Auntie Seema's approach might be influenced by that cultural expectation, by that cultural standards that she grew up in, which is why, like I mentioned, as a psychologist, before you work with other people, you need to work on yourself first, right? So for example, I give an example in my profession, right? There are boundaries that I need to put in for myself with the kinds of clients, the kinds of issues that I take, because as a therapist, you need to hold your client with unconditional love. It means like, doesn't matter who you are, no judgment there. So the moment I have my clients bring up issues that I will definitely have judgment over, so for example, cheating. If my client is a cheater, I cannot hold them in an unconditional positive regard anymore. Then I have to give them to someone else. I cannot work with them anymore. So I guess when it comes to Auntie Seema, matchmaking is also in Indian culture, matchmaking is a very old tradition.
Yes. Since during the king.
Yeah, so it's a very old tradition. It's not something that it's a service. It's not a service. It's a tradition that she makes a business out of. So unfortunately, then the cultural nuances is a lot stronger there. So so understandably, that's why she's like that.
Interesting. Okay. Back to speed dating.
Yes.
Sure. So what was it about speed dating again?
So let us see. Okay, we are down at our final questions.
Yeah.
So what factors do you focus on when matching clients to help them find potentially
I think that one said.
we answered.
Yeah.
Okay. Number 22. On average, what's the success rate like for your matchmaking service?
Not that great yet.
Okay.
We are very, very new. Our matchmaking service is very, very new. It's about 6 months-ish, I would say. So our pool's not that big. And it's a one-man show. It's just me. So I'm also a bit slow because I have my job, I have my son, I have my family. So so it's a little bit slow lah. But so far, one of our clients got married earlier this year.
Wow.
Yeah, and I think about 20%, if you want to give it a rate, about 20% ratio. Meaning we find matches for them. At least 60% of them we do find matches, is whether or not they work it out or not lah. So those that kind of like actually successfully start dating, I think about 20%. Yeah.
At what point do you like okay, so here's where we can help you until
Yeah, and then
you
it's
let them date you, like that.
they become
until the first
independent.
date lah. Until the first date, yeah. So then we let you figure out what you want to do, yeah. But for our speed dating, a lot more success there. So speed dating, how it differs is that, okay, this is how our speed dating events go. You come to our speed dating, there's usually about 10 to 15 girls, 10 to 15 guys. So we try to match the ratio 1-on-1 lah. So then you talk to all these people. So like, for example, I am a speed dating participant. So Izzy go and talk to 15 different guys. At the end of the speed dating event, I fill up like a form. Online form. I indicate who I'm interested in romantically. I indicate who I'm interested in starting a friendship with first. Because some people, it's like, romantic interest does not come naturally to them. It comes with friendship first, right? So for example, I pick A, B, C. A didn't pick me. B picked me as a friend. C picked me as a romantic partner. I picked all of them as friends, for example. So then, if I pick A doesn't pick me, then there's no match. I pick B as a friend, he picks me as a friend, then there's a friendship match. I pick C as a friend, C picks me as a romantic match, as a romantic interest, then we introduce each other as a friendship match, right? So then C knows lah, like I'm interested in him in friendship wise, but I don't know that he picked me romantically. So it's safe face. Safe face is another big thing, a cultural nuance in our society. So so far at the end of our events, usually out of 30 participants, usually only about 1 or 2 does not get any matches at all.
Wow,
yeah. So and that is usually because they don't pick other people.
Right.
They only pick 1 or 2. even as friends, or they just don't pick. They're not interested in anyone.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's actually very, very good outcome. You know?
Yeah.
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 So, and out of that, I think we've heard about 5 to 8 stories that they started dating people that they meet during the speed dating
I am
event.
excited.
Yeah. So we're like, oh my god,
Yeah.
I knew it. Yeah. So when we go on speed
So you're
dating.
basically a modern day Cupid lah.
Yes,
Yeah,
we call
yeah.
ourselves Cupids in Datewell. So like when during speed dating event, right, we can feel the vibe and we're like, you know what, I think they're gonna match.
confirm ni.
They confirm me. So like we were like, so how is it? You know, like and then we see they did match with each other. So yeah, it's quite interesting. But we also have some success stories from our speed dating events, like participants, right? Like we were saying, like we follow up with them, hey, how's it going, you know, like we have this event, if you're still interested, if you're still single, right? And they're like, oh, I'm meeting someone right now, I'm already in a few months relationship. I'm like, hey, did you meet them at speed dating? Oh no, but going to the speed dating event helped me build the courage to ask that person out.
Right.
Yeah.
There's a trickle down effect.
Yeah.
Right,
So
right.
I get goosebumps. I'm like, oh, I love love. Yeah. So it's really speed dating.
Exciting because the cultural part as well, when you, for girls, for ladies, when you reach a certain age,
Yeah.
and then the pressure comes in,
Yeah.
right? You know, your clock is ticking, and
People are more concerned of our biological clock.
Yeah,
Yes.
correct.
Yes.
Correct. And then you get I mean, of course, it's natural to only get anxious and stuff like that, right? Because you're like, oh my gosh, how am I going to find this person? And I think a lot of people, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think a lot of people would think the first thing come is if you cannot find somebody physically, like face to face or for a physical date, then it's online dating. But actually, there's also
Matrimony websites. There's a lot of matrimony websites out there.
yeah, there is. But but there's also speed dating,
Yeah.
that people can actually consider.
If this exists back when I was single, I think I would be a frequent participant. Because again, first dates are my hobby. I love meeting new people, even if it's just to make friends. We also have events just to meet friends. We call them socials. I think last weekend we had a board game social night, just to meet friends. And interestingly, match rates are higher
At socials.
at socials because there's no
Right.
pressure to impress the other person, to attract them romantically.
So you can just kind of be yourself, enjoy, you know,
Play
if
board games and go wild.
yeah, and not have any expectations,
Yeah.
you know.
That's cool. That's cool.
It sounds
Okay.
like so much fun.
Yeah.
Okay. So we've had stories of online dating that took unexpected turns, you know, with issues like we talk about catfishing scams and stuff. So how do you address the safety concerns?
Yeah, really. Yeah.
So I would say that at Datewell, that is one of the things that we try to address. We try to provide solution for. So when it comes to speed dating events, we take some security measures, like we ask them to submit their photos beforehand, and then during the registration we ask them to provide us with their IC, so at least we know you are who you are and your age is what you're saying your age
Okay,
is, right? So there's that. And then when you meet the person in front, so there's no way that they are, you know, like a catfish.
Yeah.
They're not who they say they are. So there's that lah. So we try to minimize the risk of that. When it comes to matchmaking, also we do some layers of security measures. So if you say your income is this much, we do ask for verification. Like, you know, in your BE form, there's like status perkahwinan. We ask them to screenshot that to make sure that you are not another
The income
tax form. Yeah, so we ask you to screenshot that so that we know that you're single and not divorced, or
Yeah, correct.
because nothing wrong with that. It's just that we appreciate full transparency,
Yes,
right?
correct.
So yeah, we try to minimize that as much as we can lah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so my next question is, so say I'm ready I want to find somebody. Where should I start? So now knowing that there's multiple platforms,
Correct.
online dating, matchmaking, speed dating, social nights. So where should I get started?
Question.
Depending on what you are comfortable with.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you are the type of person who, like Yash was saying, like, oh, I like meeting new people. I've known myself. I know what I'm looking for, and you know, physical presence is really important to me. Then speed dating or social nights.
Okay.
Or if you're really ready to settle down, then speed dating. If you're not, you're just trying to meet new people, trying to expand your social circle, start having friends first, social nights. If you don't have time, to talk to 15 different people, or you're just not the kind of person who, like maybe you're a bit more reserved, a lot, or you're just really busy and you do have the means to, that matchmaking. If you're just taking it casual, you're not in a rush of time, then go on online dates, go on dating apps, talk to people online, it's fine. Yeah, it really depends.
Okay, but that kind of ironed out a little bit about depending on the personality then I think the whichever platform would be most suitable.
You guys, like this from my research.
Okay.
You guys also have something called Girl Social, right?
Girl Circle.
Girl
Yeah,
Circle,
so
sorry.
it is a platform for it's like sort of like a support group. I don't really want to say a support group, but yeah, like sort of like a support group where girls can come together and discuss dating issues among dating. So we had one in June, if I'm not mistaken. We're having one next month. So myself as a psychologist and also a counseling psychologist, we facilitate group discussions. So how this helps is like our goal at Datewell, our main goal is to change the dating scene. So we try in all sorts of different ways, right? Through our matchmaking, this is our approach. To our speed dating, this is our approach. So this is another way of us trying to improve the dating scene, or actually change the dating scene. We start with girls first because, as we know, girls are more willing to talk and more willing to open up vulnerably. So we want to have like a sense of belonging. We want you to know you're not alone. Other people has gone through the same things as you, and they have adapted with a lot of different coping skills that maybe you can share, you can try, and ultimately just persevere and reflect on yourself and your experience as well.
That's nice. I think the support circle is very important because especially for some people, they see all their friends getting married, having children. I mean, it's the different stages, right?
Yeah.
So then you feel kind of like left out.
It's close to home.
Yeah.
But that's really nice. I have one last question actually. We live in a multiracial country.
Yeah.
So, how does that work out when it comes to, speed dating or matchmaking? I mean, are there different, laws as well? Or,
Okay, so when we first started, we just had, a good old speed dating. That's literally the name. So, anybody from any background, any age, any race, whatever, a religion, they can come, meet. Okay. Unfortunately, the matches are not that high, the rates, because people do have their basic filters, right? Like, for example, when I was dating, I was open to date any race, any nationalities, any religions, because that's just me. But I know, so some people, they're like, I prefer if my partner is Christian, I prefer if my partner is Muslim, preferably Malaysian, preferably if I don't want to date like a Mat Saleh, like something like that. So so then eventually we find that people are asking for it. Can you do something just for Muslims, something just for Christians? So we have Christian singles mingles, we have Malay singles mingles, and then we also have young love. So those below 30s, we have second chance at love, which is above 35, or those with divorced, or maybe just things don't work out, things like that. We also have Chinese bilinguals. So how some they prefer only Mandarin speaking, but maybe they're bilingual. So Chinese bilingual speed dating also, we have that. So we try to accommodate to the demand. And of course then the match rates are higher because it's one thing out of the way. That if you go to a good old speed dating and you already have, I only want to meet Muslim men, then only one Muslim man come, then it's gonna be it's not worth it for you. But then if you meet 15 Muslim men, then that's one thing out of your filter, right? So then you focus more on the more important things, other important things.
That's true. So creative though.
So
creative in the variety.
Yeah.
Honestly, sounds like so much fun.
So we also had expats coming to our speed dating event, and they say that it's a bit hard for them to find partners in Malaysia because Malaysians only want to date
Like,
Malaysians.
Yeah, 'cause we're
And
familiar,
it's quite hard to find Malaysians who are willing to date expats.
Yeah.
Or to find other expats in Malaysia.
Yeah.
So now we are starting a social event for language exchange socials to meet. We want to start and see the demand first, and then if there is, then we can start speed dating for expats as well.
nice.
So yeah.
Yeah, the variety.
R&D. We're done
Yeah.
R&D.
You guys take R&D very seriously.
Yes,
Yes.
Carlos is our R&D guy. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
So,
Any
Yasanthi?
other lingering questions?
No, I'm good. And thank you so much, Izzy.
No worries. Yeah, pleasure to be here. Yeah.
Any final words out there for
Yeah.
everybody
Um,
who's finding love?
If there is one thing, if you are skipping to the NTLDR, before you start dating, be it online dating, be it speed dating, be it subscribing to a matchmaking service, be it meeting someone organically at churches or volunteering events or at work, understand yourself first is really important. What is really important to you, what your values are, and what kind of partner you want to be. So if you don't know where to start, if you're feeling a bit lost, start there. Yeah.
Very wise words.
Yes. Oh, I like that. Yeah. Look inwards, locus of control inside, rather than what the other person can give to you. Yeah.
Thank you so much,
Yeah.
Izzy.
Thank you so much, Izzy. I believe everybody out there, will take a thing or two.
Yes, definitely.
Maybe more than 2 things
Yeah.
from this episode.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay, pleasure to be here.
We had lots of fun.
Definitely.
Yes.
And show us some love lah, okay?
Oh.
We brought you love.
Yes.
So show us some love. In
Sign up. I look forward to see you guys at speed dating events.
Yep.
I did well
Hashtag
project.
I think
Oh,
we should
yes.
end with this. After this episode, you should be able to date well.
Oh yeah.
And
Yes.
also our taglines: happy matching.
Happy matching.
Happy matching. Yes.
Yes. Bye guys.
All right. Yay.